Thank you very much. Kimberly and Doug and Ed, we really appreciate it. Unfortunately, we're still having some technical difficulties with trying to get Billy's demonstration to show up on the screen, but we got about 5 minutes until lunch. Billy, are you able to stay?
No, okay. Actually, you guys go through the quick demonstration on the guy, or
if you can give your presentation without, I know we can't do the demonstration, but if you want to speak about your topic, we really appreciate it, and then we'll go to lunch after that.
Hey guys, how many of you guys, I'm gonna ask you, okay, if I ask the audience questions, right? You okay with that? How many of you guys are Denver Broncos fans? 60% of it. How many of you guys know the country western two-step dance? Smaller group, okay. It's going to be pretty easy. What I'm going to talk about is basically 2 steps on here. And what I do is I'm deaf doing that, so when you guys are asking me questions, don't feel insulted if I'm looking at you. I'm looking at my ears right over here. And she's signing to me while you guys are speaking. So don't feel insulted if I'm not looking at you, but I'm paying attention, trying the best I can. I'm Billy. I'm also the chairperson of the Independent Center in Colorado Springs. Here I'm telling you the 2-step. And the 2 steps are, first thing you talk about the communication devices, talk video relay services and capture. And then the other part of it is going to talk about the issues that are going behind it. There's 2 steps in there. That's why I asked you about that. First of all, the reason why I asked you about the Denver Broncos Stadium, how many of you guys know how many people can fit in that stadium? You better know how many people can fit in that stadium? 60,000, pretty close, 50,000. It's getting colder when you say 50,000. About 75,200 people can fit in there. So the population we're dealing with would have to fill up a Denver Broncos Stadium 6 times to get to the deaf and hard of hearing population in the state of Colorado. So just to give you an idea of the size of how many people we're dealing with, yeah, we're kind of underground, we're buried, and then we have the little secret club meetings and stuff like that, is why they call it that. But the other thing is, we use special phones on there. And these special phones are kind of like Skype, which unfortunately I cannot show you on the video phone right now. It's Skype, but I see it on the screen, so what happens, if you don't mind standing up, please, and if you mind standing right over here. And so if I want to call him up, I make a call through my Skype-like device and get connected to the interpreter, which is 24/7, 365. And that woman probably got caffeine hooked up to her IV or something like that all night, I don't know. And so they also provide confidentiality to the 24 hours, 365. And then she would get connected to Mr. Branson here. And so if I wanted to call him up, I'd go to the interpreter connect to that. But the funny thing is, when I start signing, he's hearing the guy named Billy. But, I mean, he's seeing the guy named Billy, but he's hearing the woman's voice on there. So maybe have a sexual change or something like that, I don't know. So. But the whole idea is that they connect, and that's how I make my calls on there. Now, there are 2 different ways in the calls. There's also people who cannot speak very well, and there's also people who are hard of hearing. They have another device called Captel. And it's kind of like the video phone, but the difference is the video phone uses off the internet line via IP. Captel is a little gadget device where I can't speak very well, but I can type. So I would type, and the relay operator would connect to and tell him what's being said on the screen. So you kind of get the idea what's happening here, the 3-way thing going on. And that's usually hooked up to a landline. Thank you very much. You've been a wonderful person there. So those are the 2 basic about that. That's the first step. First step to understand the video devices and the phone call. The issue is a couple of things. Number one, when you're calling to the video relay service, the dispatch center, the 911 center cannot track down where I'm at. That's an issue. It's hard. It's very difficult because the interpreter can be anywhere in the United States randomly. So when I make that call at 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever time it is, I have no control where that call can be picked up from to connect to Dale at. So that's the first thing is I get connected anywhere in the United States randomly. The second thing is the tracker thing is sometimes they can see on their screen that I'm Scottish Billy Allen calling from Colorado Springs, this address here. And it displays that, and they can dispatch that to the local phone. The other problem is, too, is, for example, you guys can simply pick up the phone, call 711 or 211, right? I can't do that because my interpreter is probably not in the state. It goes outside the state and it bounces back inside the state. So don't get the 711 in the state where the interpreter is at. So you kind of get the gist here where it's kind of hard to track down where I'm at. So if you imagine an emergency comes up, big challenge. The other problem, the issue is we had a spill, chemical spill about 6 years ago over in Larkspur area, and the train derailed, and the chemical spill would happen. And so what happened was the sheriff department would call in the 5-mile radius of that area, tell them to evacuate, get out of the area because you don't want to start breathing in the chemicals going on in there. And so that call would go to all the people in all the houses. There was a deaf couple that was out there, if you don't mind stand up again. And the dispatch center would call my house, and then what happened to the notification system is it automatically activates and starts speaking when someone picks up the phone. So in this case here, the interpreter picking up the phone, but it hadn't yet connected to me. We have a pickle here. So what happened is, while the guy running the machine jamming on all the details about the evacuation details and stuff like that, she's still waiting to connect to me on the video phone. And by the time, if I do pick up the phone, by the time I pick up the phone and get connected with it, the dispatch thing's already hung up. She's not a robot, can't memorize everything inside her head. Just like if you shoot data in Star Trek, you might memorize everything and record it exactly the same tone and stuff like that. So that was a problem. Thank you. And what happened was, some Alec down the road, the sheriff department came up, a couple of towns. What are you doing here? The couple were oblivious to what was happening. So that kind of a problem with it when you reverse notification out there to some of the folks who have used a video radar or even a CapTel type device down there. That's what I wanted to share with you today. Unfortunately, I couldn't get out there to give you a little quick demonstration. I also have an answering machine on there. An answering machine will tell me what's going on. And I can use it on my smartphone, my tablet, or any computerized device down there. So that's a cool thing. How's that? Does this make sense to you guys? How many of you guys have heard this before? 1, 2, 3. A dozen people heard this before, and the rest of you had not heard it before. What do you think of it? Someone who had not heard it before. Tell me something what your thoughts are of it so far. I think the crowd's hungry, they're quiet.
It could be.
Okay. It is a little weird. Yes.
So, Billy, can you talk a little bit about, I know you talked about one of the difficulties with emergency notification systems and that it connects to your interpreter and is automatically talking before she's able to connect to you. What do you see as one of the ways to solve that problem for the deaf and hard of hearing community?
Can you reiterate that question one more time to make sure that it makes sense?
Sure. You talked about the problem where an emergency notification system calls you to deliver a message, but it connects to your interpreter first before it's connected to you. Can you think of a way that we might be able to solve that problem for the deaf and hard of hearing community?
About 4 years ago, we brought this up to the national. Let me back it up a little bit more too. These people get their money from the FCC. The FCC sets up some rulings and their statutes and say they have to go through these rulings. And they also went into the question of who was the one that's in charge of 911. Nobody wanted the finger everywhere. Because we don't know who the person oversees it. But the FCC issued a mandate to all the video relay service providers. And they said, look, take note down. If you do hear this out, try the best you can. And so by the time the party on the other end picks up the phone, go ahead and relay what you do know. But the interesting thing about it is there's no reliability on it. And in fact, if you look at the website, there are a lot of video relay service providers. We have about 7 in the United States of major relay services. 7 of them. And they all have disclaimers on the bottom of the screen. Hey, if you guys got a 911 call, don't blame it on us. We'll absolve all this stuff. That's what they're saying. It's a disclaimer, it's a waiver. They don't want to take up any responsibility. So it's not currently saying we won't take the accountability or anything like that. They're saying, yes.
I just want to piggyback on that. Why not put the burden on the providers, the emergency notification providers, to flag your phone numbers in their system and create some sort of delay in their notification to ensure that you all get communicated with the same as the rest of the public? Is that going on?
Oh, thank you. Love you. Yes, I agree with you. And I want to see that happen. Unfortunately, it's not happening right now, and it's an issue that we're trying to do on a national level. And it's a very good thing. In fact, on some of the local level, I can set up a bolo in my El Paso County 911 center, and I volunteer myself, and I just say, hey, this is my information. I have 2 kids in here, both mommies and daddies are deaf, but the kids are hearing. And so whenever you guys come over to us, they're going to be deaf and done up, and I can understand you, so please bring an interpreter. And the bolo worked. It in fact worked because they had a domestic violence call across the street from my house some time ago, and they were questioning all the people in the neighborhood. The officer brought an interpreter with him. First time at the house. So yes, the bolo is in there, and it's flagged on the El Paso County on local level, but I have to voluntarily do that myself. And a lot of people won't know to do that themselves. And that's a huge problem because a lot of people are not connected with that. And I do agree with you. I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of years on that national level. We're working it out, and I could use your eyes and ears. So if you guys hear more of that, please spread the gospel. If you have some ideas, let me know. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You want me to read it out to you?
Cheryl was asking, we did a test call using a video phone. What came up was the person's home address when he was actually in the comm center. As so, we'll say that is your question.
Correct.
Or just a comment. So what we need to do is educate the community to sign up for I didn't get that last word, for alerts.
Correct.
It will help you. So she's saying, I get text alerts on my phone. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl, there's one other thing I want to also mention to you. The registration, my phone is registered to a specific address, but when I'm using my Droid phone, I'm using the same account and the same address. So like she said, I could be here making a call. I'm not going to come over and show up my home in Colorado Springs. It won't tack on the addresses here. Because if I picked up my Droid phone right now and I dial 911 on it, just left it open on it, it'll show up the Colorado Springs house. Huge problem right there. And it already happened before because someone made a car accident on the 25 interstate on an on-ramp off of Academy Boulevard. And someone was trying to help someone else. A deaf person was trying to help someone who crashed a car on the I-25 on-ramp. And that person was deaf using 911 on there and said, hey, I need an ambulance here. I need a paramedic here because a guy crashed a car. It's like 12:30 at night or something like that. And they showed up at his house instead of showing up at the I-25 on-ramp. And they later found out that the interpreter who was on the phone, relayed the information that was read on the screen where the home registration was at instead of actually relaying where the location of the incident was at. It's kind of a tricky thing, and it's hard to overcome, and we need to work it out. So there's the two issues that they're wanting to do. There's the two things. I want to show you what video phone is, what tactile is, and two is let you know you have the issues going on, and we'll all come together, eventually come out. Your text 911 notification coming out pretty good, so there's some good improvement there. So kudos to you guys for that.
Any questions for Billy? Billy, I'm sorry to cut you short. We are into lunch, and one thing that you learn in this industry is you. Yes, sir.
Post it out there, walk out the door, you forget what happened right now. So everything that you respect you, you know, so you don't forget what
And this is an ongoing issue. We're going to maintain an open line of communication with you and Cheryl and other members of the disabled community, because this is something that that we as a field really need to pay attention to and make sure that we're meeting your needs as well as the needs of the rest of the public.